Taking artificial intelligence to the next level. Hi friends, welcome to Advanced Studio Classroom. My name is Steve and we are right in the middle of this month's technology feature called When Robots Become Your Sidekick. We're talking about chatbots and how they have developed over time and what they can do now. In the studio with me again is Gordon. Welcome back, Gordon.
Thank you, Steve. I'm glad to be back, and I hope all our listeners are having a good day and they're going to enjoy listening to us.
Yeah, and Linda, welcome back.
Thank you. It's always great to be here.
Now, friends, we know that smartphones are everywhere now, and we wonder if you use your chatbot. If you have iPhone, do you use Siri? And something interesting that I just remembered was each language has to have its own development, of course, right? And so English, I think, was one of the first or the first language to be used. But I remember there were a lot of problems with Chinese because there are so many homonyms, so many words that sound the same, and the computer had a hard time recognizing exactly which words were being spoken. But even that, I've heard, has improved tremendously over the last few years, where these robots, these computers can distinguish which words are being said actually and get it right. So their accuracy is improving. And I thought that was pretty amazing how just over time things are being refined and polished.
Right. Yeah, just reading about these advancements, it's pretty amazing from what, it was to what it is now. And this is just the beginning. There's still a lot of advancements that will be made. And it's a never-ending process.
Yeah, and just looking down the road a little bit about maybe in the future, having the phone near you with maybe a lens, it's got the camera lens, and so it can be kind of looking at you. I'm putting looking in quotes, air quotes, and it can read your facial expressions. So you don't even have to speak vocally, but it can see maybe if you're feeling bad or feeling sick, it can ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Maybe that could be something that happens down the road. Who knows?
Now, that reminds me of the film 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is a very famous film from the 1960s.
Yes.
And there is artificial intelligence in that film called HAL, who has cameras and looks at the crew of the spaceship.
That's right.
And yeah, can say, "Are you feeling okay, Dave?" and things like that. So
that is a great movie, and it still stands up. I think it still is worth watching, and everything was pretty amazing about that. Just talking about even the voice, the tone of voice that you used in that movie. Hal's voice is very calming and pretty jarring, right? Because it's so friendly and warm. Dave, it looks like you're feeling sick today, and very, very warm, but at the same time there's something sinister about it, right?
Yeah, and yesterday we touched a little bit on the dark side of artificial intelligence. So with all these advancements, we still have to be cautious because we don't want, not saying that all of those scenarios that we see in the movies will come true, but I think we should.
Oh, Linda, okay, so that explains why you put duct tape over the camera lens on your phone. I was wondering why. Okay, just taking some precautionary measures. Good for you, Linda.
Yeah, I don't like things that are too intrusive, so I have to take these measures.
Okay, well, do you guys have a point you'd like to just summarize quickly for our friends from yesterday's lesson? Gordon?
Certainly. I enjoyed the conversation we had yesterday about the different names that these chat box are given, and in particular Facebook's chat box, which they call M. I enjoyed finding out that it's from the James Bond franchise that term comes. It was named M after Moneypenny, who's a secretary in the James Bond films.
Right. Okay. How about you, Linda?
Well, just going back to the advancements that AI has made, and just even the voice, like you mentioned, it's become a lot less robotic and more human-like.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound monotone or doesn't, yeah. So it's more like a person. And just wanted to ask the two of you, because the title has the word sidekick in it. Have you guys ever had a human sidekick?
A human sidekick. I haven't, but I think sometimes people do as children, siblings. That might be a time to use this word, sidekick. If you are the older brother or older sister and you have a younger brother or sister who looks up to you and wants to follow you all around, whatever you do, they want to do too, that would be a good time to use this word sidekick. My kid brother, he's my sidekick.
That's really funny. I have an older sister, and now I'm thinking maybe I was her sidekick when we were growing up.
You love to imitate her and do what she did?
Yeah,
right?
I'd follow her around. And there was a whole period where my sister was the only one who could really understand me because I spoke far too fast and I mumbled a lot. And people used to turn to her to say, hey, what's Gordon saying? And she'd be like, oh, he's saying this. And they'd be like, okay.
So she was your interpreter as well.
Yeah, maybe that makes her my sidekick.
Maybe. Interesting.
Yeah, I would say my little sister was my sidekick for a few years. Like, she would follow me around and want to do everything that I did.
Yep. Even animals. If you are attached to your animal, a dog or a cat or something else, is with you all the time. And some people bring their animals wherever they go, on the streets or shopping, even into the restaurants. That might be considered a sidekick for some. I want to call your attention, though, if you have your advanced magazines, open to page 35, and I want to bring your attention to that little picture at the top of the right-hand side. It has that robotic hand touching the human hand, and if you might recognize that as a kind of I don't know what to call it, a play or an homage, paying homage to something. It's, of course, that painting by Michelangelo from the Sistine Chapel, and that very famous painting where God's hand is touching the human hand of Adam. And so now, instead of God being on the right side, it's the human hand, and instead of the human hand on the left side, it's the robotic hand. So I think that's a very cool picture to make us think about who gives life to who. How do you interpret that, Gordon?
Of course, yeah. And we talked a bit yesterday about how humans are creating artificial intelligence. So if God created man, then man creates robots.
Right. Very cool. All right, let's get into the lesson now. We'll start reading Taking a Cue from Asia at the top of page 35.
Taking a cue from Asia. As audiences grow, American companies are taking inspiration from hit Asian messaging services, where human-like chatbots such as Microsoft's Xiaoice, meaning Little Bing, have already proved popular. The American variety of artificial intelligence and automated assistance currently centers around shopping, for good reason. That's where the money is.
Okay, thank you, Lois. Let's talk about this title quickly. Taking a cue from. And when you take a cue from somebody or something, you're being influenced by it. And interestingly, having lived in Asia for so many years, and I really feel like Asia is at the forefront of technology, more so than the United States. When you're talking about electronic gadgets and phones and things like that, it feels like the people here in Asia are more savvy and the technology is more advanced. And then people in the United States are learning from the Asians in this area of the world. Is that something you feel about England as well, Gordon?
Yeah, I agree. Something that may be a cause of that is population. The populations of the Asian countries are often a lot bigger than populations of Western countries, particularly where I'm from in Europe, which means that there's far more people using this technology, so it develops quicker and faults are corrected quicker.
But I feel like even Asian people are quicker to pick something up that's new and unfamiliar to them and start trying to manipulate it and figure out how it works. I think they're really good at that.
I would agree with you, Steve, because things that have been in Asia for so long, for example, like the concept of selfies, which we talked about earlier this month, that has been around in Asia for many years, but only recently became really popular in the States and in other Western countries. And other like features of technology. They seem to get picked up a lot faster and a lot sooner in Asia.
I agree. Well, okay, as audiences grow, American companies are taking inspiration from Asian messaging services, where human-like chatbots such as Microsoft Shell Ice have already proved popular. So the American variety of artificial intelligence is currently centering around shopping. And we talked a little bit about that yesterday, that the chatbots, one of their main functions, main purposes is to help us shop. I don't know if that appeals to you guys or not. Gordon?
I have not used a chatbot for shopping, and I actually still can't imagine using one for shopping. I want to see pictures myself. I want to make my own decisions.
Gordon, I don't even see you as someone who enjoys shopping, are you?
Was that a comment on my clothes?
No, no. But some people just don't like shopping. I know women who don't like to shop.
Yeah, so you are right. I do find shopping is something more of a necessity than a pleasure.
Yeah. How about you, Linda? Are you a shopper?
I think I would fall under the category of like non-shopper. I shop because I need to. So I've actually never really shopped online. Like if I need to go shopping, I still want to go touch and feel, what I'm buying. So I had never heard about this particular chatbot, Xiao Ice, but I was doing some research on it, and it's very, very popular in China, where it was developed for. And there have been over 10 billion conversations with this chatbot.
What?
Wow.
In Chinese? Mm-hmm. That's amazing. All about shopping.
Not necessarily about shopping. It's referred to as the girlfriend app. And so people who just want to have a conversation can talk to Xiao Ice.
Okay. Now we're getting into a different field here. We're getting into some kind of psychology discussion about that immediately raises a red flag in my mind.
Well, have you ever seen the movie Her?
With Al Pacino?
No, It was with Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, the app that he has on his phone is similar to Xiao Ice. It's a female voice, and it's very human-like and can respond in very human-like ways to whatever topic you're talking about. So she can be your companion, she can be your confidant, and she can also make you feel better. So a lot of men like this person in the movie. They end up falling in love with her. And I'll give away the end in case you want to see it or haven't seen it yet. But this app, besides helping you to shop, it can also fulfill some emotional needs, which, yes, raises a red flag and makes us think, like, why do people need to have a robot or have an app to, for companionship? Why can't they get that with another human being?
Right.
But it does show how advanced this technology has become.
True. Very true.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There's a lot more to be said about that topic, but that's for another time. I think we need to move on to the next section, the next level of shopping. So let's do that on line 9.
The next level of shopping. Take the iPhone app Mona, for instance, which is marketed as a personal shopping assistant. Powered entirely by artificial intelligence and built by former Amazon employees, Mona is meant to provide a concierge-like experience for consumers looking for top-notch recommendations on what to buy. The 1-year-old startup is programmed to appeal to 18 to 35-year-old women who like to shop online, enjoy finding discounts on high-end fashion, and appreciate getting feedback from friends. She sifts through email receipts and interactions with the app to make educated bets on what you want to purchase. Mona will show you 5 items, and you will be able to say, Mona, I like the first one, but can you show me that in a different color? Said Orkun Atik, co-founder and chief executive of the Seattle-based startup. And we want to give her a personality because we believe that we can advance her to a level where you're talking to a person.
Okay, here we have another chatbot or electronic and artificial intelligence sidekick from iPhone, and this one is called Mona, which is a personal shopping assistant, much like Xiao Ice we were talking about from the previous section. I think this is fascinating. I'm interested to know what you two think, because here we have 2 chatbots from the same company on the same phone. Do they interact with one another, or will they one day?
I wonder if they're friends. So Mona's sole purpose really is to help you shop.
That's
really,
correct.
she's not interested in giving you a recipe for banana bread or for learning or telling you what the weather will be like tomorrow. She wants to tell you where the sales are.
So she's less funny than Siri.
Maybe she doesn't tell jokes. Right. Right. So far we've talked about Siri, we've talked about Cortana, just to refresh your memory. We've talked about M, and we've talked about Xiao Ice. Now we're talking about Mona, and she helps you shop. So line 11, Linda, what does that say?
Well, she's completely powered by artificial intelligence, and she was built by former Amazon employees. And Amazon, we know, is a huge shopping site that you can get practically anything on. So if anybody knows about shopping, it would be people from Amazon.
Good point. Yep. And so, again, here's that word concierge, and that is a person who helps you do things, get information, secure tickets, things like that. And so that's kind of what Mona is meant to do. And she helps consumers look for recommendations on what to buy, where the sales are, things like that.
Yeah, and towards the end of this paragraph, we find out how she does this. And she does it, maybe we're getting back to scary territory here. The word used here is sifts, but she looks through your interactions on the internet, your emails, and maybe your past purchases, and then makes educated guesses about what you might want to buy in the future.
Right.
So we've got an artificial intelligence here who's already spying on you.
Right. And she's looking at your internet usage. Let's say, for example, I like guitars, and maybe I spend some free time, a few minutes every day, just checking through different guitar shops and seeing what's available. And through that usage, Mona will understand kind of what I like and what kind of guitars that I've been looking at most. And then if there's a shop that has a sale on those guitars, maybe she'll notify me. You know, and she'll say, Steve, there's a sale on this guitar that you've been looking at for the last 9 months. Maybe you'd be interested in buying it. Things like that, right?
I like that illustration because that sounds a lot more friendly and helpful. It doesn't sound like spying. It just sounds like a useful friend who says, like, yeah, you can imagine a friend would be like, hey, Steve, I saw that guitar you really liked is on sale down the shop down the road. But this is, down the road is on the internet.
Right, right. So in that way, it could be helpful.
Right.
So she sifts through, or that she examines what you do on the internet, and even your inbox, emails. Is that right? Email receipts? Yeah, so she's going into everything, it looks like.
And, well, a marker for how intelligent an AI program is being able to use past conversations or past interactions and building upon that. So she'll draw from, what she already knows about you or, from whatever she finds out going through email and chats with friends. And she'll build upon that to determine, okay, well, you'd probably like this or like that, and then give you some choices.
Yep. Again, she knows where you like to shop. And so if a particular store is having a sale, again, she'll bring that to your attention. This is an example in the next paragraph of something else she can do. She can show you 5 items and let's say she shows me 5 guitars and says, Steve, these guitars are on sale, or this model is on sale. You can say, Mona, these are great, but I don't like this guitar. I don't like the color. Show me one in red. Is there one in white? And you can ask Mona these questions, and she can give you answers. That's pretty amazing. And on line 26, Gordon, what does this man say about Mona?
Yeah, the chief executive of the company that came up with this app certainly is an ambitious person. They want to create a personality for Mona, or for Mona to develop a personality, which means she'll have characteristics like us humans, and they want to make her as advanced as possible. So when you're talking to her, you could maybe make a mistake and think that you're just talking to a real person.
Yeah. And so when you have a personality, there are good things to people's personalities and there are bad things. I wonder if they're going to program Mona to be like moody, like if she's ever having a bad day. Mona doesn't want to talk. Or
I'm not sure how that would affect the bottom line, though. Like if it takes away from any shopping purchases, then that might not be a good idea.
Yeah, if she says, Steve, I don't want to look at guitars today.
Yeah.
I just want some me time.
That would be funny, though. I mean, that would help promote Mona, I think, as being more human-like. Mm-hmm. So there might be a small element of that in the program.
But they definitely want her to feel like a friend, because you'd be more willing to listen to a friend's advice rather than a robot or just a program on your phone.
Yeah. All right, friends, let's move on and wrap up this lesson at the top of the right-hand column. Only the beginning. Let's read that right now.
Only the beginning. Mona may sound like a niche app, but a robot that scours the web to help you find and buy exactly what you want could serve as a replacement for Google. Atik believes in 5 years, people will interact with smart, artificial intelligence-based personal assistants in lieu of search engines. The constraints of messaging apps make them ideal breeding grounds for bots still in their intellectual infancy. Plus, the medium is suited for concierge-like treatment, which more of us, particularly younger folks, are beginning to expect from our apps.
Okay, only the beginning. So what we've been talking about so far up to this point is just the start. There's a lot more that can happen with these chat bots and a lot more technology that can be refined. And we're talking about Mona again, and she is an iPhone app that helps us shop. And it may sound like a niche app, and a niche, sometimes pronounced as niche, is a distinct segment of the market. So again, if you're not a shopper, if you don't enjoy shopping, you probably won't use Mona. But it's a robot that scours the web to help you find and buy exactly what you want. And that could serve as a replacement for Google. I guess a lot of people Google things when they want to go shopping, right?
Yeah, the internet is where all the information is coming from that these chatbots use. And Google at the moment searches and produces text or pictures to show you as a result, but if a chatbot is just going to tell you the result, then maybe Google will be less used.
Right. I've done that before. I've wanted to buy something, maybe some kind of electronic gadget, and I've Googled it first just to get an idea of the price range and what's available and where to get it. And that's pretty important for Google that I do that, because that the more people do that, they can put advertisements out there. They can get a read on what I like and market certain things towards me in my internet use. So if I bypass Google and go right to the app, Google will be concerned about that.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be a big concern for them because, they would be losing a lot of business.
Right.
There is a lot of competition out there with these different technologies. And you can see that we've talked about so many different chatbots, and they are all in the beginning. But the companies want to make them as advanced as possible so people use their chatbots.
You're right. And this one guy, he predicts that these artificial intelligence-based chatbots will overtake the search engines. People will use them in lieu of the search engines. And so that's his prediction in 5 years. That may be what happens, or that may happen. All right, final paragraph. The constraints of messaging apps make them ideal breeding grounds for bots still in their intellectual infancy. So let's talk about constraints quickly. Gordon, what does that mean?
A constraint is something which controls what you do by keeping you within particular limits. And messaging apps are actually fairly simple. They're just often text or a few pictures that you can send back and forth. And that's quite a safe, small programming realm for a chat box which is new to grow and develop within.
Okay. And these bots, it's a medium suited for concierge-like treatment. There's that word again. So I think if you want to learn one word out of this whole lesson, that would be the word for me to suggest you learn, concierge. And people are growing up with this, and they're expecting this kind of technology, this treatment from their smartphones. And so I don't think they're willing to go back. This generation that's growing up with this technology, they're just going to embrace it more and more. What do you think about that, Linda?
I agree with you completely. The younger generation, this is what they're growing up with. And so this is what they're accustomed to, and they will just expect it to get better and better.
Right. Well, friends, what do you think? Could you live without a chatbot concierge helping you shop or make decisions, find information, solve problems? That would be something to think about. We're glad you've joined us today for this technology feature. We are out of time, but we hope you join us again for another lesson here at Advanced. Until then, from all of us here, have a great day.